Hi guys, the date is March 3rd, 2026, and this video is going to be about your kind of inner voice, the critical voice that's always in your head, that like pretty much what is self-criticism, and just about the core idea of thoughts versus thinking. And yeah, so kind of the gist of this video is, if you don't know already, you have thoughts that come to you, and then there's thinking, which is where you kind of have perspective and opinions about those thoughts. And kind of thinking is thinking about thoughts. It's a doing, it's an action. And the gist of it is thinking is not good, because thinking is where self-doubt comes from. It's where self-criticism comes from. It's where, the core values that are at least most important to me of awareness, acceptance, and presence. You have the inner voice that gives a false sense of awareness and a false sense of confidence, and it acts like it's awareness when it's really rationalization and a false sense of confidence, a false sense of awareness, a false sense of logic, and a very big rationalization of, like, you have an idea and you want to pursue it, and then your inner voice comes in. It's like, oh, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. And it was originally made as, or the original purpose of it was to keep you safe and protect you. And now it's kind of like, sometimes it is useful, I'll be honest. Like, sometimes if I'm, gonna jump off a rock into the water and it's way too high up and I shouldn't do it, that self-criticism will protect me. The thought comes into my head that, oh man, it'd be super fun to jump off that bridge into the river. But then the self-criticism comes in and is like, that's not a good idea. But once you kind of have developed that sense of when you need self-criticism, then you have ideas like, hey, maybe I should go to the gym. And then that self-criticism comes in and is like, no, I gotta protect you from embarrassing yourself or looking bad or stuff like that. And I'm gonna be honest, at least for me, my self-criticism and my inner voice is just horrible. It is everywhere. And this is kind of a video about that inner self voice and why you should work on getting rid of it, and maybe how you can start to integrate that. So I talked about how awareness, it gives you a false sense of awareness, so it kind of attacks that core value. Then it is literally the opposite of acceptance, because acceptance is, it's like case closed, case shut. We don't need to think about this any longer. It just is what it is. And then thinking is, in a word, suffering. That's why I really like the book Don't Believe Everything You Think, because it talks about how thinking is the ending and the beginning of suffering. And yeah, so if you're suffering through something, you're not really accepting it. So it kind of doesn't align with acceptance. And then thinking is the very thing that keeps you out of the present. So it is like, it's like the opposite of acceptance, but it's like the anti of presence, which is obviously awareness and acceptance is kind of how to live a good life, but then presence is how to actually enjoy your life. And so that it's really important to get a hold of that inner voice and that self-criticism. And a good example of this is I've been hearing a lot about gratitude and how you should have gratitude and gratitude's good for this and that. And it made me realize that the way people have, or I don't want to say people, self-improvement culture has shaped gratitude around that inner voice, and it ruins it. It really does. So you have gratitude. Gratitude is a thought. Gratitude, you just have the awareness of gratitude by practicing it, and then those thoughts will come to you of gratitude thoughts. It's a natural, it's a feeling, and it's in the present, and you're aware of it, and it's clean. But then the self-criticism comes in, like, okay, I should write this down. I should journal about this. I should sit on this feeling. I should try to get more of it in the future. And like, you have the good thought that comes to you, like, someone just made breakfast for me. I can tell them that I appreciate this breakfast. And then the self-criticism comes in. It's like, wow, you need to repay this. You need to do this. You need to... And it's like all these videos about having gratitude and displaying gratitude and journaling about gratitude, and it's like it's ruining the actual core values of gratitude, which I believe personally is presence. And it's a feeling. It's not like you do have things that are strategic. You have your dopamine, your oxytocin, your serotonin, your endorphins. These can all be strategically activated, and they also play a big part in how you're feeling in your life. But gratitude, it's not like that. It's not supposed to be strategic. It's supposed to be in the present. It's just something you're just aware of and that you accept, and then you move on. And I think that this inner voice, and I think I don't know, because I don't know living as someone else. I just know me, but I'm kind of underplaying how much of an effect kind of reigning in this inner voice has had on my life. And the biggest thing to counter it is obviously those three values. Just be aware of when something is a thought and when something is thinking, when it's your inner voice or when it's a thought coming to you, and accept things. Don't try to sit on them. Don't try to think about stuff. Accept thoughts, and then be present. And presence doesn't mean just sitting down and just being in the moment. It means being in the moment and taking action. So you're aware of the thought coming to you. You want to go to the gym. You accept it instead of thinking about it, like, oh, people may look at me, I may have anxiety. No, you just accept it as it is. You accept that the thought came to you that you want to go to the gym because you want to go to the gym. You want to look better. Accept the reason you want to go to the gym. And then presence, which is getting up and going to the gym in the present moment, not thinking about it, not thinking about the future or the past. Like, that's the issue is that a lot of in self-improvement culture, you have people talking about the past and the future, and they're like, oh, don't think about the future, don't sit in the past, just be in the present and take action in the present. But they don't explain how the inner voice plays such a big part in that, and is one of the core things that in today's society can really set you back, especially how we battle that inner voice and try to quiet it. You can't quiet it. You just have to observe it. You know, there's a philosophy said, like, if you see a Buddha on the road, what do? and you kill it, because if you can see it, it's not you. And that's the thing. These thinking about thoughts should be observed. Like, your consciousness comes from inside you, but your thinking comes from your brain. It's a defense mechanism developed over surviving. And like a lot of the other defense mechanisms that we developed when we needed to survive in nature, it's not as necessary. It's still important, like as I gave with the gym, the bridge metaphor. It's still important, but it's now holding us back because we can now reach higher levels of success. Like, when we were evolving, the idea of success was surviving, but now we don't, that voice is too much. And on top of that, we have focusing on things like social media, things that quiet that voice. Like, when you go into the gym, a lot of people are listening to music because they're trying to quiet that inner voice and be in their own little world in the present. And that pulls you into the present. Watching stimulating stuff, it gives you dopamine, pulls you into the present. So we like that, but we're trying to fight our inner voice, and you just have to accept that you can't fight it. You just have to be aware of it and just observe it, and say to yourself, okay, this is my inner voice, and it's doubting me, but I understand that this is a defense mechanism that evolved over hundreds of years to keep my ancestors safe, but I don't need it anymore, because I've got bigger things to succeed than my ancestors ever. Well, not bigger, but different. They just wanted to survive, but I wanted to build a $100,000 business, so I don't need that tool that they needed. And that's one of the biggest things that has had impact on me as I'm, again, starting to go to the gym and working and all of that stuff. But yeah, I just really wanted to make a video on that, because that's like a really important part of kind of self-improvement, and the biggest part of self-improvement that's not talked about. But yeah, this is the end of the video.